Hi, I'm Professor Green, and let's talk about financials when it comes to your Business for Good project. The first slide here talks about and describes the different pieces of the financial and investment slides. You're going to talk about top down. You're going to enumerate this expense items or categories, and you estimate your cost approximately. So this is one of the few cases where we do use a top down approach. But you're also going to use a bottom up approach where you're going to do the cost per unit, then you come up with a price and include a margin. You're going to do the unit sold per area or village or neighborhood, and then the number of areas or village or neighborhood. And then you're going to pull that all together, multiply all that out, and then that'll give you eventually your investment ask. So your audience consists of potential investors, as you know. And so what is your ask to achieve economic, social, and environmental sustainability? I'll do another video when we talk about what those three components include. So you're going to include here categories of costs and expenses, the cost per unit, your price, your revenue and your margin, and your reach per year. These are the main four items that you want to include on your slides. And so let's go into two examples. We'll do MOSNet first. Here, the categories of costs and expenses, the direct costs or the production costs per unit. So that's these are the mosquito nets again, right? Then you have your transportation costs to get the units to where they need to go, and your remuneration of sales for salespeople. So you're going to need to pay people to go out and actually sell the mosquito nets. You'll have some indirect costs, so your communications, so that'll be your flyers or social media post, etc., and your central office. Maybe you'll have some rent, and you'll be paying people to do a lot of those things in the main office. When you put numbers to all of these things, you come up with a cost per unit of $2. And this is also comparable to what the market rate looks like. And you got that from this againstmalaria.com. This is the source as to what other mosquito nets are charging, or the cost is of the mosquito nets. Then you decide to put 20 cents on top for your margin. That's the revenue that you'll be making. Now let's go through and compute the reach. And so how much money will you make overall? You're going to estimate that in year one, you'll do 25 units per village. You'll do 10,000 villages. And that if you charge $2.20, you'll make $550,000. Your margin then is going to be $50,000. That's that 20 cents here times the 25 units and the 10,000 villages. In years 2 and 3, you're going to scale that now to 50,000 villages. And so as you can see, you're hoping to make a lot more money. And that $50,000 then will go to pay for your direct and your indirect costs. Let's do a second example, ILT. This is the software that helps people learn. So here you have a different categories of costs and expenses. Now, instead of an actual product, it's because it's more of a service, you have program design related expenses, some training that because it's like a train the trainer idea. You have the compensation of the trainers. Then you also have transportation and logistics, because you have like hard copy things that you need to transport out to the villages so that the trainers can actually do their work. You put some costs associated with those things, and you come up with $41,500 for the cost per partner, of all the different partners around the globe who will help you implement the software. You're going to price it at $60,000. So your margin actually is going to be a good 30%. That's a nice little margin, which is often common in the software world. Each partner reaches about 3,000 beneficiaries if all goes well. So it'll be about $20 per beneficiary. In year one, you hope to have 5 partners. And so with your profits of revenue of $18,500 per partner times 5, you hope to make $92,000. And then year 2 onwards, you hope to have more like 25 partners per year. So now you can see your revenues jumping up to $462,500. There's a second slide here about ILT, and it kind of breaks down further those estimated project costs, because as I said on the previous slide, we kind of didn't, I told you what the line items would be, but I only told you the bottom line, the 41,500. Let me go back and show you where that shows up here. This cost per partner, 41,000. So what are the costs of all these different line items? This is where this comes together. The artistic rendering for the master canvas, as I said there, your master canvas and paper and different things that you'll use at the training. That's going to be $10,000. The canvas reproduction is $3,500. Shipping and logistics is $500. The core training for the team for 2 weeks in the country for 3 people to train them. Transportation, lodging, and salary and benefits, that comes to $11,000. Train the trainers stipends. So you have people that are coming to get trained and you're going to give them some money, some incentive to get trained. So that's going to come to $10,000. Then some logistics and supplies for the training and the meetings, making sure that you rent the space and you have food or air conditioning. And then follow up and retrain and data collection. You're actually going to make sure you allot $4,500 for that. So that's where it comes to the total costs. It comes to 41,000. But still, because your total reach minimum is 30 people per trainer, it's still just $20 in theory per beneficiary cost, because you're trying to reach a lot of people with this training program. There's no direct cost to the customer beneficiary. So your end user doesn't necessarily have to pay anything is the idea. And as I said here, you're going to charge them $60,000 and you're going to make hopefully $30,000 margin. And so how does all this information translate to an investment request? Going back to that mosquito net example, you're going to ask for $250,000. Right? Because that accounts now for half-time salary for 2 founding team members for year 1 at $60,000. You're saying that your founding members can work other part-time jobs and do this part-time. Then the cost of 20% of the estimated products for year 1 is $100,000. Your personnel for year 1 is $120,000, and your other costs for year 1 come to like $30,000 or $30,000. So that your initial request comes to $250,000. Then you have your return on investment. Before I go into that, let's just click back to the MOSNet example. You'll see that you want to ask for $250,000 to pay for a lot of these things to get you up and running, right? Because you can't actually charge anyone without an actual product. So you need to put up some money ahead of time. And so that's going to help you create these products so you can start to sell them. And the investors are hoping then to get money back, right? They're going to hopefully give you that $250,000, but what are they going to get in return? So you're proposing to them that they get 7% interest on year 1. So they get their money back plus 7%. There's a 5-year principal repayment. So that means you're going to pay them back within 5 years at the 7%. And then also, as you continue through your life cycle of your business, years 2 to 6, or you're also happy to give them 20% equity ownership after year 1. So if they're more interested in the growth of the business and think that this business is going to take off and they'd rather have shares in the business, then maybe instead of getting a repayment in cash, they'd like to have equity because they think they're going to make more money potentially in the future than just getting the money back at 7%. That they think that their investment is going to be more like 10 or 15%. So you're going to give them that option. Similar type of framework for ILT. Here, same thing. Your initial request now is only $160,000 because, as you see, with software, there's kind of like more limited upfront costs because you make the software, but really what's more in the delivery. So there's not a lot of cost to doing that. You're going to pay for half-time salary for 2 founding team members. So again, your 2 founding team members are going to have half-time jobs someplace else. You're going to pay for media and web development at $10,000. The contractual talent development, retainers, and licenses. So you're going to want to make sure that you hire the correct trainers, etc., and make sure that they have the correct licenses for your software, and maybe you're licensing software from someplace else. That's $25,000. facilities, utilities, and IT infrastructure for year one. So you're going to make sure that there's internet set up where you're going. And so you might invest $35,000 in mobile hotspots or something like this. There's some pre-production costs, material sourcing and inventories. So $15,000 for that, making sure that your software and other materials for your training are up to speed. And then client development, travel, and logistics for year one, you added another $15,000 there, just to make sure that you have enough money to go out and visit the clients, connect with the trainers, and just any miscellaneous logistics. Here, the return on investment, the ROI, again, is similar to the MOSNet example. This is just 7% interest in your only in year one. They have 5 years. The owners have 5 years to pay them back at 7% for over years 2 to 6, or again, they can have a 20% equity ownership. So you can let your investors know about that. And so how your investment ask slide should look, there's some general rules of thumb here. It should be 6 digits, because 5 digits usually are too low to usually scale something very quickly. 7 digits is usually too high of an ask. It depends on the project, of course. So, but most of my courses, most of my classes, my sections, my groups, I'd say you're probably in the 6-digit range. You should have a rough idea of why you're asking for the amount in question and what it'll be used for initially. So again, you don't have to include all those details on your slide, but you should know them so that people ask about them. Then you're happy to let them know. So that's everything for the financial piece. I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here, and I will create another video on the triple bottom line.